Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for December 6th to December 12th of 2015. And on December 6th, we have the sun. You can see it denoted right here by this black circle with a dot in it. It is in Sagittarius, and it's also in the fifth hexagram. And on the outside of the wheel, we've got the chop mark for the fifth hexagram, numbered from bottom to top. The fifth goes yang, yang, yang. Yin, yang, yin. And then the fifth hexagram is mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And right here, this is the fifth gate of fixed rhythms, waiting the fundamental attunement to natural rhythms, waiting as an active state of awareness, located in the sacral center, in a collective energy, a collective logic energy path in the understanding circuit called the Channel of Rhythm, a design of being in the flow that connects to the 15th gate of extremes, modesty, the quality of behavior which expresses the proper balance between extremes. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we've got the following activated gates on December 6th. We have the sun in the fifth gate with the earth in the 35th gate. The north node of the moon is in the 6th gate with the south node in the 36th gate. Mercury is in the 11th gate with Venus in the 50th gate. Mars is in the 48th gate. Jupiter is in the 47th gate. Saturn is in the 9th gate. Uranus is retrograde in the 51st gate. Neptune is in the 37th gate. And Pluto is in the 38th gate. So obviously not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your own human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And the neutrino forecast is really just a weather report. No matter what the weather, your individual strategy and authority is the correct choice to have an authentic experience regardless of the program. As Ra Uru said, whatever the weather is going to be, you have your neutrino umbrella. As long as you're experimenting with your strategy and authority, the weather's for your pleasure. And we begin the week with one channel definition due to the transit field. With the Earth in the 35 and the South Node in the 36, we have the Channel of Transitoriness, a design of a jack-of-all-trades talent until December 9th. This is a collective abstract channel that has a talent for adventure with the wisdom that nothing lasts. The channel of the wavelength that preceded this is the channel that comes from practice and refining a pattern to reach mastery. This is a mirror image that's about a rich experience in life, but often does not meet an individual's mental expectations or those of others, and needs to be seen as part of a wider plan that will eventually reveal its depth and wisdom. And this may influence folks to want to make changes or have new experiences. The adventure that comes from this definition may be story-worthy, but use your strategy and authority to determine if this experience is correct for you or not. This is also a very sexual channel that wants to do something new and different. The key is to enjoy the experience without placing expectations that could lead to disappointments. And we have a defined solar plexus, so this could influence those without emotional definition to have that unfamiliar wave of emotions and perhaps lead to acting confrontational. The defined throat center could influence those without to talk about what they feel, or that they feel it's time for a change or not, to attract attention. We're going to look at the sun's Ravi-Ching line values daily, because 70% of the neutrinos we receive come from the sun. And as Ra said in Living with the Program, The Lines of the Day, when he was talking about these daily shifts of line values, he said we can always take advantage of the themes of the day. Now, if your strategy and authority doesn't lead you in that direction, you can always notice how the program is affecting others in your environment. So let's get started. December 6th starts with the sun in the third line of the fifth hexagram, and the sun in the third line of the fifth hexagram is compulsiveness. The fear engendered by the sense of helplessness resulting in unnecessary stress and activity. Exalted compulsiveness can be limited in its negative effect through flights of imagination. Though still stressful, they do not lead to action. A surrender to the limitations of a fixed rhythm through the empowerment of imagination. Detrimented, unable to surrender and at odds with its own rhythm. And when we're talking about third line days, the line of the martyr, we're talking about a trial and error process, bonds made and broken, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work. Things can bump into us under that third line energy. Be careful things in your environment, being on the road or in, swinging doors, elbows, things of that nature. It basically with this, things can go wrong, but if they do, they may lead to discovery. But then later on the 6th, the sun then moves into the 4th line. So leaving the martyr line into the opportunist line of the 5th hexagram. And this shift happens at 10:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the sun is detrimented in the 4th line of the 5th hexagram, which is described as the hunter, waiting as a guarantee of survival, detrimented the vanity of personality so strong that it's unwilling to hide behind the blind, threatens its very survival, the drive to deny one's own rhythms with predictable costs. And when we get into the 4th line, we're moving out of the lower trigram, 1st, 2nd, 3rd lines into the upper trigram, 4th, 5th, 6th lines. So this is a shift. That's a change from an inward perspective to more looking outward, moving from more of a personal perspective to more transpersonal, with the themes of friendship, companionship, networking. 4th line days are great for social interaction. Also on the 5th, also on the 6th, Venus moves from the 50th hexagram to the 28th. Bringing this definition. Of the channel of struggle. Let's talk about Venus. Venus is in human design is very powerful, deeply misunderstood. According to Ra, it brings morality or values, natural law in which we deal with the other and the consequences of the world around us, and what disturbs you on a moral level. Well, your design and personality Venuses tell you about the moral dilemma that you're going to work with in your life, and that if you don't act with moral clarity, Venus can be unkind in its retribution. In the 28th, Venus is in the gate of the game player, preponderance of the great, the transitoriness of power and influence. Venus is detrimented in the 1st line of the 28th, which is preparation, detrimented the aesthetic appreciation of planning that may have no real application, an intuition for detail without the potential for application. And with Venus in the 28 and Pluto in the 38, we've got the channel of struggle, which will be affecting us until the 11th. This brings experiences where people struggle against overwhelming odds, and it's through this struggle that we experience an archetypal hero's journey of fighting for our purpose that empowers others to stubbornly fight for what holds meaning for them. This is about empowerment that comes from being who you're meant to be instead of following the conditioning of our families, schools, religions, and governments. It's said to be deaf so that people with this channel don't hear the other and get distracted from their authentic path. For those without a defined root center, this definition can bring pressure in which folks feel in a hurry to get things done, to release stress. And the defined splenic center brings with it intuition and well-being. Ra warned that non-splenic people may let go of something that is good for them during a transit defining the splenic center. And this is individual circuitry, so the definition brings melancholy or blue feelings that are best used in some type of creative activity. On the 7th, The sun then moves up into the 5th line, into the heretic line of the 5th hexagram at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 5th line of the 5th hexagram is described as joy, waiting as an aspect of enlightenment, exalted, to remain calm as the ultimate aesthetic, and thus recognize the inner meaning of being, the power to be calm and find one's place in the flow. Detrimented, joy dismissed as illusion, waiting as failure, disillusionment with recognizing one's place in the flow. And 5th line days, the heretical line, the thing that I think is important to know about the 5th line is it's about projection. And the projection goes positive then negative. The positive being they could do it, they're the perfect person for whatever it is. And then if the person doesn't do it, can't do it, for whatever reason, they do not meet that expectation, that's when they get punished. That's when the heretic is tied to the stake, as it were. So it's a day of suspicion, but also of universalization, where something can leak out and spread like a virus, whether it's a YouTube video or a Facebook post or something like that. People talk about there being paranoia associated with the 5th line day, which can impact the nature of relationships. As I said in the past, if they're projecting on you and you're not meeting their expectation, and thus the projection turns negative and they're out to get you, then that's not really paranoia after all. And seduction also being a theme of a 5th line day. On the 8th, the sun then moves out of the heretical line into the role model line, the 6th line of the 5th hexagram at 6:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 6th line of the 5th hexagram is yielding. Waiting is never free from pressure, physical or mental, and often punctuated by the unexpected. Exalted, the growth in awareness that comes with bending to the universal flow. Acceptance of one's fixed rhythms despite the pressures. Growth will be empowered and often through the unexpected. No polarity. Detrimented, no planet in detriment. So 6 line days, here we are in the role model, the roof of the hexagram. And as I've said before, I like to think about this as like being on the roof of a building. We're not looking at that building so much. We're looking at what's in the neighborhood, what's down the road, what's on the horizon. The 6th line is looking at what's the next hexagram that's coming up, things like that. Ra talked about 6 line days, not to get stuck with your head in the clouds because you'll end up with something banging into your shins or your kneecaps. It's a day where there's a lack of focus on what's going on around us because folks are looking beyond their immediate environments. And like 3rd line days, there can be certain dangers of not seeing a car coming, not seeing a bill coming, things of that nature. Also on the 8th, Mercury moves out of the 11 and it moves into the 10. The 10th hexagram here in the here coming out of the G center. Little one here. And Mars moves moves from the 48 to the 57, bringing us another channel definition. Got a lot of activity in this report related to the splenic center, defining the G center. All right. So let's break this down here. Mercury in mythology was the messenger of the gods, so this is about communication, an expansion of human consciousness through communication, not just his words, but also his music, according to Ra. So what do you need to communicate in life? Well, we communicate the message of our design Mercury through the medium of our personality Mercury, and what might be communicated when Mercury is in the 10th gate. Well, this is the gate of, this might be communicating survival through behavior. Everything in the integration circuits is about survival, and the 10th gate is about behavior. This is the gate of the behavior of the self, treading the underlying code of behavior that ensures successful interaction despite circumstances. Mercury in the first line of the 10 is modesty, the innate sense to know and accept one's place, exalted, a valued sense of purpose no matter what the position, the ability to know one's place and how to act despite circumstances, detrimented, the affliction of oversensitivity and hurt feelings, oversensitivity to external conditioning of behavior. And then Mars, moving from the 48 to the 57, it's in the gate of intuitive insight, the gentle, the extraordinary power of clarity. Mars is in the first line of the 57. Which is the gate of confusion, a line of confusion, exalted, the gift of penetrating to the inner meaning that ensures timely action, the possibility of intuition penetrating the inner meaning, detrimented, where feelings are no substitute for clarity, that can lead to indecision and the possibility that confusion will overpower the intuition. And Ross spoke about Mars being an extraordinary and immature energy resource that lacks refinement and is subject to outbursts. In mythology, Mars was representing the warrior archetype, and by following our strategy and authority, we slowly refine the energy of our design and personality Mars from immaturity to wisdom. And with Mercury in the 10th gate and Mars in the 57th gate, this brings us the channel of the perfected form until the 12th. This is the design of survival where behavior becomes art. The influence of this transit may be that folks need to perfect their form, however they define that, whether it's their bodies, their work, their home, their art, whatever form means to them. This brings the love of art that is created simply for the enjoyment of the artist. Folks may have more of an ability to think on their feet under this influence. The defined splenic center we've talked about before, bringing intuition and well-being and perhaps influencing those without to let go of something that is good for them. The defined G center could affect those without to obsess about where they're headed, what's their direction, where might they find love, and this continues the stream of individual circuitry, again bringing melancholy or blue feelings that are best used in some type of creative activity. And then on the 9th, the Sun leaves the 5th hexagram and it moves into the 26th, and the Earth leaves the 35th gate and it moves into the 45 right here, throat. Of course, we still have the south node in the 36. All right, so we've got the Earth in the 45th hexagram. This is the gate of the gatherer, gathering together, the natural and genetically beneficial attraction of like forces. The shift happens at 5:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and with the Sun in the 26th gate of the Egoist, the taming power of the great, the maximization of the power of memory applied to nurturing of continuity. And the Sun in the first line of the 26th is in the line of a bird in hand, exalted, the ability to enjoy the dreams engendered by accomplishments in order to avoid the delusion of unlikely potential, the ego which transcends limitations through dreaming, detrimented, accomplishment as a license for a foolhardy risk-taking, the refusal of the ego to be satisfied. And when the Sun again is in first, second, third lines, we're in the lower trigram. Those are days when people are looking more inward, they're more absorbed in their own process, with the theme of the first line, the investigator line, being that there's a fear or anxiety that needs to be investigated. So it's a day to study, not to act, a day to look into things, not to jump. It's a good day to deal with things you don't understand, can't make sense of, or don't know. On the 10th, the sun then moves into the second line of the 26 hexagram at 3:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun is exalted in the second line of the 26 in the Hermit line, and it's described as the lessons of history, exalted, the energy and depth of reflection to learn from the past, the anticipation for the future, the power of the ego to mature through experience. And second line days, people are waiting for something. They're waiting to be called, particularly called for their natural talents. Again, lower trigrams, so people are stuck in their own trip. Not a great day to have a big social event like a party, because folks really would rather stay home under that influence of the Hermit. And then on the 11th, the sun then moves up into the third line, so into the Martyr line of the 26. This happens at 1:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun is exalted in the third line of the 26, which is influence, the ability, once prepared, to gather support. Exalted, the authority to focus on communal effort, the power of the ego to gather support. Third line days, we talked about this being the martyr, a trial and error process, bonds made and broken, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work, and that things bump into us under that third line energy. So being careful on the roads, be careful of swinging doors, swinging elbows. It might be a day when we have bonds made and broken, or one or the other. You might feel like we're going through a trial and error process, or that things are on trial. So it's also a good material day. It's a good day to do business and work on the material plane. But again, being careful, because things can go wrong, but hopefully finding some type of discovery if things do go wrong. And then later on the 29th, the sun then moves into the fourth line, so leaving the martyr line, moving into the opportunist line at 11:32 p.m., so just 28 minutes before midnight on the forgetting what day we're on. And so on the 11th, so we've got the sun in the opportunist line of the 26. This is described as censorship, the alternation of memory through elimination. Exalted is the ability through censorship to save the collectivity from itself, the power of the ego maintained through forgetting, detrimented the use of censorship to maintain the status quo, selective memory in fear of unrestrained consequences, the power of the ego maintained through selective memory. And fourth line days, again, we're moving out of the lower trigram into the upper trigram, moving from an inward focus to looking more outward, with the themes of friendship, companionship, networking, and having social interactions being more favored. Also on the 11th, we have Venus moving out of the 28 and into the 44. Connecting all the way across to the 26th gate and defining the ego center. And, we've already talked about Venus being about values and morality in human design. This is in the 44. Venus is in the gate of alertness, coming to meet. The success of any interaction is based on the absence of preconditions. Venus is detrimented in the first line of the 44, which is conditions, the establishment of a framework as a result of interaction. Detrimented and attractive nature that will interact with inferior forces and will fail to apply restrictions, resulting in the risk to continued harmony, the failure of instinct out of the need for harmony. And with Venus in the 44, and we've got the Sun in the 26, we've got the channel of surrender until the 14th. This is the design of a transmitter. This conditions us to believe that we have the instinct for knowing how to present anything to anyone and get our message recognized. This channel definition works when it's invited, and when somebody asks, then they've opened their aura to what you wish to share. For the folks that have this in their charts, this can be manipulative, as folks may be able to sell ice to Eskimos. This is someone who can be a salesman. Somebody, the 26th. Brings that quality of knowing how to adapt the message to the listener, and the 44 brings that quality of knowing when we're being manipulated. During this time period, people will be more convincing in their presentation, whether it be a message, product, or truth, with the aim to get paid more for doing less. The defined splenic center we've already talked about, influencing folks without to maybe let go of something that is good for them during this channel definition. The defined ego center could influence those without feel like they've got something to prove, feel like they want to make some type of improvement, maybe make promises or commitments that are not correct for them. And then on the 12th, the Sun then moves up into the 5th line of the 26 hexagram at 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Sun is detrimented in the heretical line of the 26 due to Venus being in the 44. This is described as adaptability, detrimented, a resistance and dissatisfaction with basic changes to nature and necessity. Resistance and dissatisfaction when basic changes to nature are necessary. The resistance of the egoist to adaptation. Again, we talked about 5th lines being about projection, and that the projection goes positive then negative. So in the themes of this are suspicion, universalization, paranoia, projection, and seduction. Also on the 12th, Mercury moves from the 10th gate to the 58. Meaning that this definition is no longer here. We still have Mars in the 57. All right, that looks correct. So Mercury, again, we talked about this. This is about communication. What might be communicated with Mercury in the 58. Let's just put something here that's gonna stick. This is the gate of the joyous. This is the gate of aliveness. So it's a taste for vitality and a better life. This also has a stream of taste associated with it. Again, the joyous, the stimulation is the key to joy. And with Mercury in the 1st line of the 58, this is the love of life, exalted. The very stimulation of the world is the basis of an aesthetic appreciation of its beauty and wonder, alone or shared with others. This profound inner realization is the key to a joyous harmony with the process of being, the energy which fuels the love of life. Detrimented, a cyclical energy with intermittently fuels the love of life. So no matter what the energies that are conditioning you during this week, just remember that this experience is about being a passenger, riding in a vehicle that's being driven by the magnetic monopole. So just enjoy the scenery. Let your vehicle take you where you need to go through following your strategy and authority. Every day is a blessing, no matter what the dramas that beckon to distract us. We're all giving the performance of a lifetime on the world stage. Just take some time to observe your play as well as watching your movie. Because besides acting your part, it's important to be aware of what is being presented to you in this life. Remember that you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be for December 13th of 2015. It should be available on the 12th, when we'll continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. You can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube, and I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings. And I've done my best to make this available to the most amount of people. So I encourage you to contact me, as I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available, and you can find out about making a donation by contacting me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com. As always, I am blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. In Lakesh. And as Ra would say, love yourself. All my best, and hope to hear from you and connect with you in the future. Peace, everyone.